Welcome to What Do You Say, the podcast that peels back the layers of remarkable individuals to reveal their extraordinary sides and their incredible lives. I'm your host, Frank Termini, and I'm absolutely thrilled to embark on this journey with you. The podcast name's What Do You Say, but that's not how it's said.
How do you say it?
We say.
What do you say?
We say.
What do you say?
We say.
What do you say?
You got it. We say.
Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to What Do You Say? My name's Andrew Termini. As with me, as always, is my brother and host, your host, Frank Termini. If you like what we're doing here, please go out there, like, subscribe, leave us a review, and turn on those notifications.
You got it.
I nailed that.
You nailed it. We got Mike Morris today. And Mike, you have your own podcast.
Man, I do. It's called the Value Given Podcast, and I go around to local entrepreneurs, and I just ask them, man, how did they do it?
Hey, Mike, before we get started, turn your mic a little bit towards you. Yeah, so I wanted to face your mic because you were kind of a little quiet there.
Try it now.
All right, how's that sound?
That's much better.
I think it's good.
Yeah, all right. Sorry,
it's
Mike.
the value given, right? The value given podcast.
So I captured on Google AdWords, and everyone talks about value given this, value given that, but there was not a podcast. So I just named my channel the Value Given Podcast. And if you're an entrepreneur of any manner, I don't care if you feel like you're unsuccessful. If you work for yourself, I want to interview you, and I want to ask you, how did you ever become an entrepreneur? How did you overcome adversity? What kind of struggles have you faced? And ultimately, what are you doing now to actively grow?
So how many episodes have you had?
Man, I've been kind of pushed off for the last month, but I think there's 15 to 20 between there. And
they're just local entrepreneurs.
I just interview local entrepreneurs, just people, and it's purely for me. I truly believe everybody has an opportunity to share something with me, and you have some information that could benefit my business. I probably have something that could benefit yours, and I feel like the world's a better place when everyone spends time helping each other.
It's not a bad philosophy. It's not, but you also have a pretty interesting story. It's a little bit turbulent, yeah?
Man, I've had a shit show of a life, nothing less than, yes.
Okay, so let's talk about it. So you were born and raised where?
So I was born military brat out in Arizona. Dad was military.
Okay.
And we moved up to Smithville. Hell, I was like 5.
Okay.
From there, my dad and mom split up when I was like 2nd grade, maybe 1st grade. And Dad was kind of just never there ever since.
Okay.
After that, man, it's got into drugs, got into alcohol, got into partying, got kicked out of my house when I was 17.
Okay, so did you go to Smithville High School?
So no, I left 5th grade out of Smithville, and I went to Union Chapel over in Park Hill, and I graduated from Park Hill South.
How old are you?
What am I, 31?
Oh, gosh, you're young. Yeah, you're super young. Okay. All right. Because I was going to say Park Hill South. Okay. So you moved from Smithville to Park Hill, and at what age do you start dabbling in drugs?
So my buddies were all the potheads, the rich kids, the nothing that I was.
Right.
So ended up getting connected with this guy who his brother was a pretty big dealer then, and he made it look easy. All you have to do is answer your phone and you make money. So my buddy, who I ended up living with because I got kicked out when I was 17, moved in with him, and he ended up going back out to Texas, and he literally just gave me the business. Hey, I'm going to forward everybody that was in my phone to you because I can't handle it. So that's how I began.
So, and you were dealing marijuana.
Man, you name it, I dealt it. We could talk about pills, mushrooms, blow, weed, a lot more pills. Dude, if I could make $1 on it, I would have.
So, and you had various connections for each drug, or one guy gave you your, whatever you needed pretty much?
Man, it was so many different people. This is actually kind of dark, so I'm kind of stirring up some past dramas. But man, it was just, I had so many different connections. I mean, when I thought a good career path back in the day was becoming the biggest kingpin of Kansas City.
So, what did you move most?
Oh, bud, weed for sure. Hell, I don't know. That's a hard one. I sold a lot of weed, but pills.
Really?
I'd pick up thousands, and they're gone within hours.
Pills, so you're talking about like hydrocodone? You're talking about what?
Xanax, hydro, morphine, oxy, muscle relaxers. Dude, I'd get Adderall.
Were they pharmacy grade or were they the black market stuff?
Well, back then it was all pharmacy grade. They didn't have any of that counterfeit shit back then, Drew.
It's probably been going on for. I mean, he's 31. I assume this is probably.
He was in high school. Figure that's 15 years ago.
Oh yeah,
12 years ago. So
yeah, you might be right.
That all that counterfeit shit just really started back in 2020.
I think it was before then.
So as far as I know,
For sure.
my buddies were all pharmacists that I would get them from, and I would just have that random relationship with this nerdy ass dude, and he would just make these pills. Don't ask me how, but I basically would buy, let's say, $1 for each of these pills. I go buy thousands. I turn around and flip them for 5 to 10 a pop, all the way up. Dude, printing money within hours.
Really?
Oh my God, like water.
So what would you make a month?
Dude, I was making 15, 20 grand a month being 19 years old.
For how long?
It carried on for about 3 years. And when you lose about $80,000 in a week and you're afraid for your life, things got to change.
What happened?
Man, I got robbed and actually got my head beat in from just a bad deal. I got robbed 3 times in 1 week. It was terrible. Just a bunch of stupid mistakes, was chasing money and not thinking smart. Every single time I had a weird feeling and got robbed every time.
You're kidding me.
Dude, I wish I was. Like, this is not something I'm proud of. It is something that I feel like the Lord definitely needed to happen in my life in order to have more of a testimony now.
So you got robbed 3 times in 1 week?
For about 80 grand.
A total of 80 grand.
Like about 80 grand, yeah. Out of my pocket. That's like a couple $100,000 in street value.
So you of product, not of money.
Product, money, whatever I had.
Yeah.
Clothes, dogs.
So was it like some friends of yours had to tip some people off?
Oh, yeah. I had so many snakes. Like,
That's what that business generates.
oh, yeah. I thought I had so many real friends, and not a single person from my past I'm friends with today.
That's good.
100%. I didn't realize, like, I now understand it's better to have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. And it's now that I'm constantly evaluating where not only do I stand with people, but where do they stand with me? Are they given to me or are they taken from me? And I'm constantly evaluating. And when the scales start to get too tipped, I start to question, where do we stand? Because I have to.
Sure.
Because unfortunately, due to my past, I know the mistakes of not evaluating my friendships.
Well, you've heard what you show me your 5 closest friends. How's that saying go?
Show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
There you go. Something like that. Yeah, I knew it was, something like that.
You are the sum of your 5 friends that you surround yourself with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I fully believe it, man. It's like now I surround myself with business owners, successful entrepreneurs, multi-millionaires, and man, I wouldn't change it for the world. It's just the other day, Tony Cardella, for example, was in the sauna, and there's simple questions you can ask an entrepreneur like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What would you suggest? That's the kind of answer you'll get. You'll get a very, very top of funnel answer. The question I asked him was, hey, I'm trying to sit here and retarget through Facebook. What would you suggest on this amount? He looked at me like, this dude really just asked that? Like, that level of question, a person in the business where it's like, okay, that's a little bit deeper of a question. Like, we ended up having a very educated conversation on that because it was making him think about the answer instead of just giving that basic answer that we so hear from anyone looking to make a decision.
So after you were robbed, did you quit or did you keep pushing through a little bit longer?
So this is Man, I really don't want to post this, but we're already this far in now.
Well, here, you got to show the dark to appreciate the light.
This is true. So I was actually dealing out of my dad's house. Like, I was so scared to go back to my house, and I only knew one life. Like, I was just selling weed at this point. Like, literally just making a few $100, and it wasn't anything to brag about, but it had just enough money to always have a little bit of money in my pocket. But I ended up falling short on some bills. I ended up getting my house repossessed, or got kicked out. It was a rental, got my car repossessed, and hell, my dad ended up flushing down like $800 worth of weed. When you have nothing, like, that's a huge kick in the dick.
Yeah.
Like, that's $800 my cost.
Right.
So I still had to pay that back, and then on top of that was a couple $1,000s worth of weed I had. So him and I ended up getting into it, and it kind of just laid low for then. And then just one day I was starting to get back on my feet, and I was walking to work. Maybe a quarter mile away, I was walking to CVS Pharmacy every single day, dressed in dress pants and their uniform. Walking to work in the dead of summer, and I finally saved up enough money for this $1,500 car. And immediately, within a week, the exhaust like blows up. One of the things, it starts breathing bad. So this brand new car that I purchased, to me, $1,500 car, now needs a $2,000 exhaust fix. I'm like, damn, can't catch a break. Like, this is karma catching up with me. Like,
Right.
look, you're gonna have to listen here. God's like, if you really need, I need you to learn this lesson hard. So I don't even remember what happened. I think my dad ended up spotting me the money, and for whatever reason, my drawer came short. Never stolen my life. My drawer came short at CVS for like $20, and they had to fire me. So I'm like, whatever, so be it. A week later, I have this car with a brand new exhaust, and I'm driving the bitch, and the thing catches on fire.
Jiminy Christmas.
So I'm down this $1,500 car. I'm down this $2,000 exhaust. They did not fix the exhaust correctly, and there was too much fuel, sent in, and all this fire came into the exhaust. I'm like, damn. So I stopped the car. Thankfully, it kind of died down, and we ended up having to get it towed. So my dad ended up spotting me the money on that, and I thankfully got into a warehouse. But dude, I was still so in the thick and thin, or the thicket of it, that I was playing on my phone all the time. I mean, all I have to do, I'm getting 30, 40, 50 notifications a day of people trying to buy stuff off me, and I'm in this job making $10 an hour.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, this is literally, I can go home right now and make more money than this hour work, but then my dad's there. So had to deal with that. I ended up getting fired from that job, and I don't even remember how I got out of I do remember, kind of. There was a few seller jobs that I did, just nothing was sticking. I was just doing things just to live through the motions. Finally, I got connected. Hell, I don't remember how, but I applied to this environmental cleanup service where it was just traveling a bunch. I'm like, you know what? There's nothing for me here in Kansas City. Like, I need to start traveling. I don't remember if I'm living with my dad at this point. I don't remember a lot of things. Sorry, before that, I got connected with like Old Dominion Freight Line, was on the freight line. And hold on, let me think about this.
Mike, now I want to ask you a real quick question. When you were selling, were you also using?
Oh, dude, yeah, you name it, I've done it.
So were you using?
I was getting high on my own supply.
Yeah, I figured most people who sell usually use. It usually starts out as a way to provide for the habit without having to pay for it.
Dude, I was smoking so much weed. At this point, I really wasn't doing a lot of blow. I really didn't like pills. There was a couple of my buddies that died from pills, just OD, so I never really messed with pills.
Yeah.
But they were so many people, and I looked at it as so many people loved pills. They're going to find it from somewhere. Why not it be me?
Right.
That's usually how drug dealers rationalize it.
Well, I mean, it's the best money for the. I mean, your return on investment is way higher than anything else, and that's why they do it. I mean, it's, the market's there, supply and demand.
Yeah.
I literally just wake up. I send out a mass text. I would send out a mass text to like 150 people. Hey, this is what I have. and 110 people would message me back and say, "This is what I want." Like that's how easy it was.
Now, how did you cater to that many people? Did they come to you? Did you go to them?
Oh, dude, I ran a trap house. Like, I had a house that people were in and out all day long, day, night, does not matter. I'm surprised my door was not busted in. Truly. Like, that is mind blowing to me. Like, there was traffic at all hours of the day.
Wow.
3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, 20, doesn't matter. That how many people entered my house per hour.
Really?
Dude, I'm surprised I did not get caught. Like, I was an idiot.
So full circle back to when you're living with your dad. The house is gone. Do you still have? You just have the weed habit.
Yeah, I'm just smoking weed and not by myself. Like I've never been a person to do anything by myself. I still don't think I've ever smoked a single blunt by myself or a joint or anything. I don't drink by myself. I don't smoke by myself. I stopped smoking cigarettes back in August this last year, but I think that was the only thing I ever did by myself.
So it was 100% social outside of the aspect of before when you were making money.
I'm 100% social butterfly. Like I don't drink on my own. Like even today, I've never once opened up a beer to drink by myself.
I've never done it either.
It's just no desire.
Yeah,
I've never had a glass of whiskey by myself. It's just
No, I'm with you there.
I've never really done it either.
I don't know how people can. Like, I've had a cigar by myself, but I'm sitting there just playing on my phone, having a cigar. And I still do those on occasion, but.
So, at what point do you decide, how old are you when you decide, hey, I'm done with this. I'm done using, I'm done dealing, I'm done with all of it.
So there was a conversation with my dad. And
how old are you at this time?
I'm 20.
Okay.
I'm 20 years old, and I had my weed flushed a few months ago, maybe a few weeks ago, whatever the time frame is at this point. And I went to jail the night before. And it was weird enough, I went to jail because of my dad's alcohol in my vehicle. So me and my buddy.
So would you get pulled over?
I got pulled over and minor in possession of alcohol. Well, there was 2 shot glasses that he found underneath my passenger seat that I didn't know were there. So the only person that usually would pick up little shot glasses was my dad. So they must have fell out of a sack or something. I didn't even know they were present. No biggie. Like I'm 100% responsible. I'm not putting it on anybody. But I went to jail because of that. Now, granted, I had a 20-pack in my trunk. But because I was smart enough, I'm like, I did not know this was in the vehicle. So me and my buddy had a cop following us when we were 20, and he pulled over and I pulled over, and he arrested both of us. So went to jail, ended up calling my dad. He never answered. Called my mom, and she came and bailed me out. So I finally wake up at like 1, 2 o'clock in the evening or in the afternoon. My dad just said, I need you out. Need you out of the house. So I'm 20 years old. I got kicked out of my mom's, got kicked out of my dad's, and I ended up, thankfully, my mom ended up accepting me back. I didn't talk to my mom for years, and she accepted me back. I started working at Old Dominion Freight Line, made pretty good money. Ultimately got fired after, there was a lot of bullshit getting thrown at me. Had a package damage my hand, ended up claiming workers' comp, and about 3 weeks later, they really stuck it to me and just trying to make me a bitch, and I just didn't accept it. So Monday comes around, they fired me because of it. I really don't remember after Old Dominion. I think I started working the environmental cleanup, but after I went to my mom's, I never did it again. Like I literally just
stop dealing, stop using.
Stop dealing. I stopped using. I think so. Maybe a blunt here or there. But nothing of extreme value, like a joint.
Okay. So then, at what point did you decide to get into real estate?
Man, that was after the oil field. So I didn't get into real estate until.
So you had several jobs.
Dude, I was a fuck. Nothing short of it.
Well, here's the deal. I know, so many entrepreneurs that have tried to work for people and got fired. Just because that's just what they that's not what they were meant to do. Now, I never got fired from a job, but I just never was happy working for other people. You know what I mean? It was just always this tug, like, God, this is fucking miserable. And I had a great boss. Before I opened up Core Physical Therapy, I had a great boss. It wasn't like and he's still someone who I value tremendously today and taught me so much, but I was miserable. And I think it's common to have entrepreneurs that got fired from those types of jobs, so I don't necessarily, I don't think that's uncommon. I really don't.
So I wasn't done with all the drugs. Not yet. So whenever I was traveling around for all these works, just traveling, cleaning up, dude, I was making $15 an hour and I was killing myself slowly. Working ungodly amount of hours in ungodly type of environments with ungodly amount of heat and cold. And I mean, you're just doing the bitch work that the companies don't want to do themselves.
Right.
So I ended up getting my buddy who actually passed away. Hold on.
Yeah, you got it. You're good.
My buddy who actually passed away on my arm, he ended up getting me over to his company, and I was actually pretty happy there. But there was another guy that came in, was talking about pipeline a lot. And I heard all the money you can make, and I was like, dude, gets me out of KC. I can go make a bunch of money. Let's go do it. And my buddy, who was the very first person that ever believed in me, and that's why he's on my arm, he was like, dude, do it. Go and do it. He goes, I got a girl here. I got my dogs here. He goes, that's why I'm not going to do it. I'm happy here in KC, but you have nothing, Mike. You have nothing holding you back. Go and do it.
So where was it?
North Dakota.
So you go to North Dakota.
I go to North Dakota, man. I started off with a company called CalFrac. And, dude, I was working 100, 110 hours a week. And you could stay up there as long as you wanted. So I would come back home every couple of months. So 110 hours a week multiplied by 8 weeks into time, dude, I was making overtime after 40. Making $25 an hour, but I was netting somewhere to the tune of like $3,000, $3,500 a week. Like, this is some serious money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's after tax.
Yeah, that's net.
Yeah,
$14,000 a month. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, and I was like, man, you know what? There's something to this. And what ended up happening? I got into it with a boss of mine, and I'm actually friends with him to this day. And it was whenever I got back, I was up in location. My mom was kind of tripping about my aunt passing away. And my boss was like, hey, just go ahead and run. And mind you, I'm still very immature at this point. So my boss was like, hey, I need you. They call me Pickle. I was big and green. I was like, I need you to stay in location tonight before you drive, because I know you're emotionally unavailable right now, but like I need you, because we just got off a location 17, 18 hours later. I was planning on just driving back to Kansas City. She was in Columbia fighting for her last breath. So I ended up sleeping the 12 hours, which I needed, and I pinned it to Columbia. Well, I just was hitting Kansas City. My mom called me and she said she passed away. So I'm like, damn. So I had a little bit of resentment because of my boss keeping me back. Like I said, was very immature. And whenever I got back to location, I ended off the shift, the hitch, a little short. And then we just went on our normal vacation, like 1 week off, whatever the number was. So I had like almost 2 weeks completely off. And whenever I came back, there were some new rules. And I was running an entire side by my side. And one of my managers really just came in to big dick me. And I told him basically just nothing short of fuck off. So my big boss found out, and me and Big Boss got into it. Well, Big Boss pissed me off enough where there was a lot of wanting to fight. There was nothing ever done, but he pissed me off to the point where I went to 2 hours away. I drove my personal car to talk to the biggest manager in our company and just said, you either are going to get me off location or I'm out. He called my bluff, and I walked and drove home. I had plenty of money. at this point, but I was like, you know what? I want to go back up there. I don't remember where I'm living at this point, but maybe a couple months, I'm back up in North Dakota with a different company and just hustling, making money. At this point, I'm
Same type of deal?
yes, I was a fracking.
Right.
Yeah. I was very good at what I did. More so, I just didn't give a shit to say anything different.
So fracking, tell me, because there was a thing that they were talking about during the election with that, wasn't there?
Yeah, but you never know what to believe when those.
What does it mean though? What is
So there's a lot of drawback from uneducated people on fracking. So we shove chemicals into the ground. From a blanket statement, that's true. From an understanding of what actually is going on, we're shoving chemicals that have been from the ground to help yield oil from the ground. So, and then we use sand to break up rock, like essentially rock breaks rock. But they said back in the day, like Michigan or something, you can have your water catch on fire because of the fracking, but it wasn't due to that. Natural gas was seeping into water, and that's why you could light your fire. Like fracking, is it 100% safe? Here in America, it's a lot safer than it can be, but we need oil. Like, we're as safe as we possibly can. Dude, they preach safety up there. Like, there is, every single thing is monitored down to the exact pressure at every given second.
really?
Dude, it is so micromanaged up there. And so, I mean, dude, if you have more than a gallon of anything spill up there, and you're dealing with a lot of hotheads and a lot of people away from their family for months, like there's a lot of, I mean, it's a wild, wild west up there. But it's like, if you have anything over a gallon spill on location, you have to report it, and you have to get the EPA involved.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah. So,
Paperwork.
oh my God. Yeah, there's so many rules and regulations involved, and people that are undereducated on the matter are always the ones that have the loudest voices. Essentially, look, we're using up everything from the Middle East, and we'll have a monopoly eventually here in the States. I mean, we're talking about you can drill down a few hundred feet in the Middle East and hit it. To up in North Dakota, you have to drill down a mile, and then you have to drill sideways 3 miles. And then that oil reservoir, we just put a bunch of sand, little bombs everywhere, and then that's how we get the oil. So just a little bit of education for the day.
So when did you stop doing that?
I got fired.
So that's how many jobs there?
Dude, I don't know. I got fired from a lot of jobs. I've been fired from, I bet, every bit of 10 jobs. Like I said, dude, I'm not very proud of any of this.
Well, you're just not meant to work for anybody.
I didn't realize that.
So so you're 31, okay? And this probably, how long have you been in real estate?
I got my real estate license in 2019.
So you've been in 5 years. So you were 26. So basically from 18 to 26, you did all these different jobs, got fired from pretty much every one of them.
I got fired from North Dakota due to cocaine. Pissed dirty on a drug test.
Okay.
Dude, I was making all that money. I'd come back home, get a tattoo, party my ass off, drink heavily, buy everyone's tab, and then I would never wanted to shut down. So the next thing is when I'm blacked out, drunk,
Let's do a line.
Let's do a line.
Yeah. It's
So
the best time to do it.
yeah, I never did it sober.
Yeah, it's
It
miserable sober. First
Yeah.
thing you want, if you do that, then you just want to go drink.
makes me want to yak.
It's awful. It's awful. So you get fired from that job, and then did you move back to KC?
I moved back to KC, and my CDL was dirty. It was a random DOT drug test. So my CDL was dirty back in 2019, March 2019. And so I can't drive a truck. All my life I've been told, man, you're in the wrong careers. Everyone said, man, you should be in like real estate or some type of salesman. Had a few buddies running car dealerships like, hey, you should come work for me. Like, I'll make you big. I was like, yeah, I'm good. And just stubbornness on my part, I was like, I'm going to go get my real estate license. I remember 2019 in March. I've never been more sick in my life. We all know what happened in March 2020. They said COVID didn't become a thing until March or December of 2019. That's bullshit. I've never been more sick in my life. And now knowing the information that I knew, I was one of the very first carriers of this COVID. I had to have, but because I went and got checked out by a doctor, and he said this was the worst sinus infection he's ever seen. Dude, I was down for the count for like 2 weeks. And I'm sitting there trying to get my real estate license done. Like I'm in class trying to keep my head up, but my body is so tired from attacking whatever this is that I'm sitting there like dozing off in class. Like I remember my teacher like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "I'm trying my best over here to be here." She's like, "You have to be here specifically. You have to pass this test." I was like, "I'll be here," but I literally cannot. Like I've never been more sick in my life. So I ended up passing and everything. It took me a couple times to get my real estate license, and hell, I got it by like April, maybe May of 2019. I didn't get my first sale until March 2020 with our good buddy Rick Sims. And I ended up starting to drive a truck for Charles Purcell. Do you know him? Chaz. And he just needed a driver. I was like, "Man, my CDL I think is messed up." He's like, "Well, make sure you have it." And I called up. Everywhere was like, "Hey, you're good." Went and spoke. This was the very first time in my life I actually took accountability. Whenever I went to get my CDL fixed, they sent me to like a SATOP class, like in a psychiatrist thing. And he basically asked me the question. He's like, "Do you know why you're here?" I was like, "Yeah, I failed the drug test for cocaine." "Well, why were you doing it?" I was like, "Because I was partying." I just took complete ownership. And the guy's like, in 30, 45 minutes, he goes, "What do you plan on doing?" And I was like, "Dude, I don't plan on touching this stuff anymore." I was like, "I really don't want to drink anymore. Like, this is alarming." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to assign you the bare minimum." He goes, "But there's not a lot of people that come in and just take complete responsibility. So that is why you're doing this. I have to assign you a SATOP class. But if you did not take responsibility in this one class, I was fully prepared to send you here multiple upon multiple times." I was like, "Damn, okay." So that was the first time in my life that I took accountability. The first time in my life that I started to do better in my life.
Well, I mean, if you look, at like the book of Genesis, right? Is the real sin disobedience, or was it lack of accountability?
I mean, I don't feel like there's a sin greater than another anymore.
Well, I get what you're saying, but think about it. What if Adam takes complete responsibility for what happened? Does it change things?
I don't think so.
You think it's disobedience?
100%.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think accountability. It was the instructions were clear. And what he did was he ran and hid.
But he never gave Eve the command that was given to him, number one. And then when
You saying there's a lack of communication? Like Adam didn't go tell Eve, "Hey, we shouldn't eat this apple."
100% he never did. You got to read it. He never told her.
I got to go back and read that because I can't. I mean,
He never told her the command God gave him.
You're going to make me double check that.
He never told her. And then when God comes and confronts him, Eve blames Adam, Adam blames Eve, and then Adam blames God. Never took any accountability.
I don't think the accountability piece. I don't think changes anything.
Oh, of course it does. Here.
I don't think it changed. In this instance, I don't think it changed anything because he was told. He was told, and he should have communicated it to his wife, which I'm going to have to double check on that because I don't.
He never communicates it.
But nonetheless, it's definitely disobedience.
Yeah.
What point were you hammering home, anyways?
Well, because all of a sudden he's accountable and things start to change for him.
I think that's natural. I think accountability helps, but that didn't get me out of all the trouble. I was still.
I think his disobedience led him to accountability. Accountability was the
way out.
The lesson learned through the trials. I mean, his car catching on fire,
Getting robbed.
that's being accountable for your actions.
Dude, I blamed everybody but myself for all of it.
And that's
the terrible position to be in.
that's a drug addict. I mean, speaking from a person who's had the issue, that's the first thing. They become the victim, and it's everybody else's fault.
Yeah, I mean,
Because now they're not held accountable for their own behavior. It's everybody else that should be,
and that's like people who have an external locus of control, right? I mean, if you have an external locus of control, you're probably a fucking loser.
Yeah, using these big words that I don't even understand right now.
Something else other than you is controlling your outcome, you're probably a fucking loser. Swear to God.
I agree.
You're probably gonna. I mean, it's a fucking shit show. People who have external locus of control of, oh, I didn't do this because this one, and I couldn't get this done because of that one, and I couldn't get this one because of that. They're just fucking losers.
I love it when my buddies, and I'm single for a reason, but I love it when my buddies have relationship issues, and then all they do is blame their wife.
No, it's 100% your fault every single time.
You should make it your fault.
You should make it your fault.
Just
because
easier.
How can I navigate this with the least amount of friction? And what is my part? And really not what is my part? How can I solve this?
Well, but here, you should always be looking for a way to do better.
Absolutely.
You should always be willing to look to change and look for ways to do things better. And as the man of the house, you set the tone for the entire mood of the house. When I'm struggling mentally,
Yeah.
this whole house struggles mentally.
100%.
Right? When I got a lot of shit on my mind and it's weighing on me, and whether it's finance, it's usually finance, but when that is weighing in on me and I'm stuck inside my head, it affects my wife, it affects my kids. They all feel it, and they all feed off of it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got when you're stressed, that energy is strong.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
But that's why I really admire the people who have ice in their veins. Like the stress just doesn't get to them, and it doesn't it doesn't express outwardly. They hold that shit in, but and I think that's as you navigate relationships and marriage, like that's what is like the big lesson learned.
Well, and the other problem with marriage is nowadays is this fucking concept of equality, right? No, the man is the fucking leader of the house.
I don't know that I
Hold on.
I don't know that I totally disagree with that. I think that
I believe a man leads the house, but we're equal as far as responsibilities that we each have. A man is meant to provide, but without a woman having the household in control, like that's where the equality is. We both have responsibilities that if the other one does not fulfill their responsibilities, that's when it becomes an unequal household.
Okay, so I 100% disagree with both of you.
Andrew,
Hold on a second. I do believe that there are certain decisions that the husband should make, and as the Bible says, a woman should submit to her husband. Now, a lot of women find that verse troubling, but I think that he should be the head of the house. Now, that said, I think it really depends on a individual's, male or female's, personality on how those things get divided. In your house, it might need to work that way.
If a man fully led everything, the man would be so damn exhausted, and that's where the partnership happens.
It's partnership. It's 100% partnership.
Like if you go home, let's say if the man's supposed to lead everything, he leads the job, he leads the household duties, he leads the chores, he leads the kids, he makes sure they're all where they need to be, and that's not where, like, in your concept, I believe that's where the equality is the woman has her responsibilities, a man has their responsibilities, and then together they make it a household so much better.
I mean, and I think along with evaluating each other's strengths and weaknesses and really understanding your partner, through that you find out how that responsibility division goes. I mean, if my wife made $5 million a year, you know what? I'll be a stay-at-home husband all day long. I mean,
Could you?
I mean, probably not. No,
I couldn't.
I do a lot of work from home anyways because I'm a computer nerd. But I mean, if there might be a different,
So I'm single and I
roles.
got asked this question the other day. And she's like, and this girl was like, what if I start making like a $10 million a year? I said, awesome. That's awesome for our family. She goes, would you quit doing what you're doing? I said, fuck no.
No. If I think because you have the investor mindset, if you had more liquidity, you obviously would search places in order to put it to get multiples. That's just what an entrepreneur and an investor thinks.
I told her, I was like, I don't care how much money you make. You can make billions.
Right.
You cannot pay me to quit on my God-given purpose.
Oh, okay. I can agree with that.
Like, I don't care how much money you make. I'm going to change lives with my story. I'm going to help other entrepreneurs build success. I'm going to help men create a non-toxic weak masculinity concept. I'm going to teach men on how to treat women correctly. Like, these are my purposes in life that I want, and I'm going to go succeed. Make all the money in the world. You tell me I can't do my dreams. You're too expensive. You need to leave my life.
No, I 100% agree with that. And for any ladies listening, he is single. So this is you
Still think the man's the head of the household.
I definitely, a man leads the household, but I still think there is equality in the household.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I didn't say anything that the woman isn't equal.
Well, no, I mean it was you're making it sound like as the head of household there's
If you don't bring your woman with you, she will eventually resent you. Like, your dreams as a man should be big enough to accompany hers.
I don't disagree with that.
Frank, there are things that Michelle does. I know you think you're head honcho around, but there are certain things that Michelle does.
Hold on. I know what you're going to say, but let me tell you something. People said the same thing about George Termini, and George Termini did what he wanted, when he wanted, and how he wanted. On the outside looking in, Dad was passive and got walked on.
Whoa.
Hold on.
We're totally you're totally missing my point here. So what I'm saying is there are certain things that Michelle is better at than you are.
Sure, 100%.
And the household runs that she takes that and I agree with what Michael's saying is that it's a division of roles that need to be divided amongst the two according to each one's God-given gifts.
I believe a healthy household first is led by God.
Right, but dividing up tasks based on talents doesn't change who the head of the household is.
Okay, so now what does the head of the household do? And I think from a biblical standpoint,
The head of the household, I'm not talking about even finance, right? I'm not saying but here, you think if Michelle makes more money than me, that I'm still not going to be the emotional and spiritual leader of this house?
that's what I'm going. If that's what we're thinking in terms, and that's what I thought you were kind of alluding to, is that a man should pastor his family.
I'd love for her to make more fucking money than me.
There was definitely a disconnect, but now I see what you're saying.
No, a man should pastor his family. I mean,
A man is meant to lead, but to the typical concept where I've normally heard people are like, oh, I'm the man of the household. It's like, motherfucker, sit your ass down. Like, if it wasn't for your wife, you would not have anything.
right.
No, I get that, but like if you look at, okay, so this he's a rapper. His name's Lecrae, I think is how you say his name.
Yeah, the biblical, the religious rapper.
Yeah.
He's
Okay. So
legit.
he does a fantastic talk about operationally defining what a man is.
What is a man?
A man is someone who rejects passivity.
Explain that. a little
Okay.
bit.
So here okay. So he says if you compare it with Adam was passive. Adam never gave the command to Eve. He was passive.
What's it mean to be a Christian?
What's it mean to be a Christian? A Christian is someone who believes Jesus died and rose from the dead, and because of that, they have eternal life.
So this verse in the Bible, I think, is massively misconstrued, and it's turn the other cheek. When in the Bible did it say Jesus ever turned the other cheek? He called people out on their bad habits, and they got so upset that they eventually killed them. Right or wrong?
Right.
He wasn't an eye for
But
an
I don't
eye
think
guy.
that was it, though. I think it was who he claimed to be that got him killed.
But he claimed who he was, which is fine. But why he got killed was he called out a lot of people on their bad habits, and he performed miracles. And I mean, look at all the churches that he called out and all the priests that he called out. And I mean, going into the temple to flip over all these tables when they were doing sacrifices up front, like you can buy. Like, he disrupted an industry that was pretty fine.
Hold on. And but he wasn't passive, and he wasn't always gentle.
Correct. That's what I think masculinity is. Now, is it disrespect? No. Masculinity is calm and peaceful. With that being said, you need to speak your true peace.
Well, it's a difference between being assertive and being aggressive.
Yes.
And being assertive is an art.
I mean, there's a difference between a nice guy, a gentleman, and an aggressive man.
Yeah.
I mean, aggressive man come up and call you out and cuss you out, whatever the case may be, kind of emotionally unstable. Then there's the gentleman who's the complete peace and brings peace to everyone around you. Then there's the nice guy that doesn't even speak his true peace and lets everybody walk all over.
You don't want to be him.
No, you don't want to be the aggressive. You don't want to be the nice guy. Like you
want to be in the middle.
You want to be the gentleman.
You want to be here. Being assertive is incredibly hard. And that was one of my biggest downfalls as an entrepreneur.
You know what's being assertive? Why it's a challenge? It's because it's all related to tone. If your tone is one way or the other, you're going to be the nice guy or you're going to be the
aggressive.
be the aggressive. It's all related to tone and how you communicate it. And I think in a marriage, when you're communicating, you can communicate a point. If your tone is off, it's going to come off as aggressive and pushy. It's communication in anything, you know.
But here, let's get back to this. What a man is with the cray. Okay, so we said you reject passivity. Adam didn't do it. He never gave the command to Eve. You accept responsibility. Adam didn't do it. He blamed Eve, then he blamed God. You lead courageously, and you invest eternally. Those are the 4 things that a man should do. And I thought that was like, I've never, like here, I could,
Is that something Lecrae said?
it was here. It was, I'll tell you what, it was a 45-minute sermon that the guy did.
We'll get you a link.
Here, Tony Mike Cardello is the one who sent it to me.
Because I think there's one more, and I really think men should show up and show love to everybody around them.
Let's see if that's going to fall into one of them.
Like, I think the world would be a better place if we all stopped.
Well, that could always fall into your eternal investment, right? Because when you invest into others.
Well, I mean, I think that it's a very generic principle, but it's pretty simple: is love others as as yourself, and
As God loved the church.
as God loves the church. I mean, those are really, if you live by that, you can't go wrong.
Correct.
Yes, and it should be simple.
It should be.
It's not.
Everything should be simple. That's how it's easier to be completed.
Yeah.
Like, God gave us an entire book, and I say that very loosely, but he gave us an entire book on principles to make us a better person. And yet so many people are so mind blown on what they're lacking in their life. And it's like, dude, you're lacking responsibility. You're lacking discipline. You're lacking caring for others. You're lacking putting your best foot forward every single day. You're lacking putting in the discipline for your body. Like, you're lacking all these things, and people wonder why we have such high depression rates right now.
Here, I think you can relate depression to 2 things: diet and lack of activity.
Lack of purpose.
That'll do it too.
I think it's definitely lack of purpose. I feel like if that's one thing about being a Christian is once you accept Jesus as your Savior, it it changes your purpose. And now when you're looking for where your purpose is at, you can go in and pray on it and say, you know what, I'm looking for guidance and more definition of what my purpose is.
People think when they accept God in their life that their lives actually get just magically easier.
Doesn't.
It gets harder.
It gets harder.
No, motherfucker. I hope you're ready for this ride because God's about to use you to build what He needs you to be.
And he's got to put you under some pressure in order to
Change
refine you and change you into what he needs you to be.
It's hard. It's like
hard.
It's being a Christian. It's like, hey, you want to fight? Be a Christian.
Yeah.
You'll fight, and you'll get as much as you fucking want.
Man, I go to church. Obviously, I'm reading the Bible, and people are like, "Oh, you this Bible thumper now?" It's like, no, I need it for me. And people, well, what does that mean? I'm bad with women. Like I love women. And there was a woman recently. She's like, "Are you trying to change me?" I was like, "Hell no, only God could do that." And she's like, "What do you mean? You don't go to church?" I was like, "Yeah, but I go to church for me. I need changing." I was like, "If you don't see that you need changing, like we're probably not going to be connected very long."
Well, like spiritually, you got to be equally yoked.
100%.
It's not going to work.
If she was blonde, and that was the only part I really was worried about.
You've got to be operating from the same book. If you guys are operating from the same book of
Mental
rules,
stability.
yeah. I mean,
But like to my point though, like what I was saying, like in my house, if I didn't grab my family and say, "Come on, we're going to church," we would never go. We would never go. She would never ever say, "Come on, let's go to church. Come on, we got to go to church." Never. That is always me every single week. She's going to listen to this and she's going to get pissed. And if she's crazy if she thinks I'm wrong. It's 100% me every single week fighting to get it. And it's a fight.
Hold on. I have to say this. You may be the one that says, "Hey, let's go." But if she didn't want to go, she can make your life a living hell.
Well, no, because there's times where, like here, last weekend, Gianna had a volleyball tournament. So I was like, here, I'm going with the twins. Because, like, in my opinion, the man has to go to church. Your kids need to see you humble yourself and get to church. So I just feel that way. I think and my mom always told me that. And you know something? No matter what, holy day of obligation, Saturday, Sunday, out of town, didn't matter. Dad was in church. Always.
no, he was.
Never missed. Ash Wednesday, there. Any holy day, like here, where are you going? Oh, it's the feast of such and such that nobody knows about. Okay. See it. And he would,
Melanese.
It's the start of Hanukkah. We're going to go ahead and celebrate it.
and he was in church. And you know, my father-in-law was the exact same way. And they were both De La Salle guys.
No, I 100% agree in the idea that it needs to be church needs to be a routine, and it is it's for the sick, and
I'm sick,
and we're all sick and we need it. But I will say this: there are some relationships, and we'll use Neil and Amy for example.
Can we use like Brad Pitt and Angelina?
Yeah,
Neil Getzlow.
yeah, Neil and Amy.
Yeah.
Neil was in a place of despair and sick, and because Amy was still going, regularly, it brought him back in.
She was able to pull him out of the pit.
Yeah.
So I think there's a hierarchy, and I'm not sure if you guys would agree. So wife or husband does not matter. You need to put God first in your life. The second person in line is you. Either your wife, Michelle, or you needs to come second. The third one is your significant other. The last one is your kids. And I think everyone should be led by something, and that should be God. And then the second one is you cannot pour from an empty cup, so you need to always make sure you're good so you can give to everybody else. Then you give to your significant other though next, because who are your kids learning from? How to love a woman, how to love a man, how to love anybody else. And then your kids are last. Like, you need to put your wife above your kids or your significant other.
1,000% biblically true. It's God, your spouse, your kids, and I think part of the reason why divorce rates are so high is people fall into the trap of putting their kids before each other. And it's easy to do. And you know what the biggest cause of it is? Fucking youth sports.
Well, I mean, think about this. If you always gave to your wife, like, who are you without her?
You have to, how do I want to say it? Be intentional.
Yep.
You have to be intentional about connecting with your spouse, because those little bundles of joy that you love so much
Are learning.
But-
They're little sponges watching you.
but not only that, but they're also being used to pull you apart. So if the husband and wife aren't intentional about coming together, them kids will continue to pull you apart and pull you apart and pull you apart.
And the only way that it ever happens is when you are good. And unfortunately, us as men, I feel like we go through way more than women. Truly.
It's difficult. Yeah, I mean, especially
Hey, I kind of agree with you, but
Like, why I say it is, we always have to expected to show up no matter what. We're expected to work harder. We're expected to work later. We're expected to be the emotional rock. We're expected to get our children into discipline when they're not listening to the wife. Like, unfortunately, us as men are, like, women show up looking beautiful. Men have to cater to the date, get the date ready, make sure the reservations are good. Like, I truly believe that, where the dynamics are a little bit different.
I already know what a woman would say in this instance to kind of be a rebuttal. So
Of course.
we don't have to give birth.
I
Man,
got a good point.
I mean, I'll be honest. That's
Here.
something I don't want to do.
And here, what's the name of the English playwright? He said, saying that women and men are equal is absolutely absurd. Women are far more superior.
100%.
He said, if you give a woman food, she'll make you a meal. You give her a house, she'll make you a home. You give her sperm, she'll give you a kid. And if you give her a little crap, she's going to give you a ton of shit.
Yeah.
so women are superior. Let me rephrase this. Women are superior, but men are expected to do more.
Well, and a lot of that expectation is probably put on yourself. I think when you get married and you find that woman, some of that expectation is you'll realize that she doesn't have that expectation of you, and so that expectation gets removed.
I feel you should always be giving, no matter what. Like, honestly, like, if you just want sex in a relationship, like, go find a hooker. Like, it's way cheaper and it's way less stressful. Like, if that's all you're after is sex,
Hell, you don't even have to find a hooker.
you can go to the bar.
You could just get online now. And you
It's
could just,
simple.
yeah.
Like, if you are in a relationship, whether you're married, whether you're in a relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend, beginning stages, dating, it doesn't matter. Your entire job is to give to the other person. Like, that's how a healthy relationship is. Always giving to the other. When the dynamic changes is when somebody starts taking and one person's giving. Then there's resentment that occurs.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
You're quiet.
What are you thinking?
I think that both individuals have to give.
He's what he's saying.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought you were saying that you when you said
No,
you.
it does not work when
Unless
one person gives.
both
and one-
parties are giving.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, there are times in a relationship, and I don't think, obviously it can't be both be given at the same time, but there are times in your relationship, just like you were saying, that when you're stressed, everybody can tell that you're stressed, which means your cup's probably pretty full. There's not a whole lot you got to
a
give.
little empty.
Right. You're yeah.
So a
So
little empty right there. Can't pour.
and that's when kind of things, Michelle will step up and do the giving in those roles. And I think that's it's got to be an interesting dynamic of it can't always be giving, because sometimes you've reached your capacity at some point, and then you have to recognize in your relationship of when we'll use Michelle for example, when Michelle needs you to pour in more to her, and there's going to be times when she's going to say, I got to pour more into my husband because he's getting stretched thin. And so
This is where I think, like, women always say they want a man to communicate more, but there's a way to do it. You can act like a bitch about it, like, oh my God, my life is so stressful. I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's a real weak statement. But your partner is supposed to be there. And you know what? This is everything I'm dealing with right now. And can I just bounce some ideas off you to kind of get it off my head? Maybe you can help me.
yeah.
Like there's two things I just conveyed, and one of them was I'm so worried I don't have any of the answers. I'm not the man that you married. And then the other one is, hey, you're my partner. Please act like it real quick. I need some help.
Yeah. And I have an issue with that because a lot of times I'll have all this shit running through my head. I don't even know how to convey it to her. So then I just sit there and do nothing.
Dude, it starts off with like that shirt I wear every morning, one step at a time. Hey, if you're dealing with this, hey, you know what? The kids right now got me stressed out. I don't quite know what to do on this part. Hey, work right now got me stressed out, and this is why. Can you kind of help me just get my mind? And even, hey, you mind just listening in there for a second? I just need to vomit at the mouth all my ideas, and then I kind of need you to help me out in trying to organize them. I'm kind of getting stressed out over here.
So what the odd thing is women, when they come to you with those problems, like you might be asking for a solution.
They're not. They just wanted you to listen.
They just want to listen.
There's one or two things.
So
you ask.
painful.
There's one or two things that you ask, and I went through a lot of heartbreak, so that's the only reason I've done my education on women. Do you want me to listen, or do you want a solution?
Right. Are you
Ask
venting or are you asking my opinion?
Ask that question, and if she says, I just want you to listen, you shut up and you listen.
Yeah.
And you periodically say, really, tell me more.
Yeah,
Like-
it's the true practice of patience and empathy. You know, so the illustration I always think of is like if my wife is out in the yard and she's stuck and it's raining, she doesn't want me to say, "Hey, honey, come in to the rain. You're getting rained on." When she's in that headspace, she's like, "I want you to get under the cloud of rain with me and get rained on." And we're just going to have to live and sit in this, and you're going to have to practice patience and just be. That's what they want. Typically, I want a fucking solution.
Give me a solution. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Yeah. Give me a solution. Let's
This
move
is
on.
where the balance comes from, though. Like, women are beautiful creatures and men are doers. Women, I mean, this is why women speak, 3 times more than a man a day, statistically speaking? I went out with a girlfriend of mine recently, and I kid you not, I don't think she shut up the entire time. And she wasn't even talking to me. I mean, it was just from point A to point B, like, hey, I went to work today. Oh, I went to work, and this person started talking to me, and like just the entire thing. Like, we've already established I went to work. We went to the same job, and yet why is your story 14 times longer than mine?
I will say that I don't need the details. Just give me the USA Today version, and you know, so many details.
Well,
like,
because then my ADD kicks in and I just.
and then my wife will ask me, "It feels like you're just not even interested." I'm like, I am totally interested.
Hold on. Michelle will come to me and say, yeah, I guess I'm just talking to myself. And believe it or not, every single time I can repeat back to her verbatim what she said to me.
Right.
I am listening.
I am listening, and I just said what you said to me in the last 30 minutes. I just summed it up in
30 seconds. Yeah.
That, you know,
You guys are giving away all your secrets right now. Like, I'm so thankful I'm single right now.
no, my wife's not going to listen.
Michelle will listen. Michelle will listen. But it's not anything I haven't said to her.
My wife's too busy. I'm going to have her skip past this episode.
So, what questions did you have for me?
Hold on. Let me share this real quick where I started educating myself.
Got it. Let's do it.
So after the oil field, came back, got my real estate license, drove a truck real quick, and I was actually about to go back up to South Dakota. And the week I was supposed to go to South Dakota, I quit my buddy's job that he gave me an opportunity. And by the grace of God, I truly believe it, my former boss, the last person I ever worked for, called me up and said, hey, I have a spot in a truck if you want to. I said, well, I got this. I'm going to go make $4,000 a week. He goes, well, I can't touch that, but you can make a couple grand, be in town. I said, all right. Even if he did it like half of what he said, am I cool with 1,000? It's about how much I was making anyway. Like, all right, whatever. I'll give it a try. Because of that job, and we had brand new machines, brand new trucks, I started listening to YouTube. This guy was trading stocks and educating me on how to do the stock market, crypto, all these things. And every single day, I was educating myself. Well, I started dating this kind of toxic woman that was the last one that I've had to deal with. And it caused me so much pain that I didn't know where to go. Like, my head was, looking back, I'm like, man, I was such a weak person. But I didn't know where to go. I'm like, all right, I'm happy when I'm making money. She kind of pushed me into real estate. She was a top producing agent. And this was October 2021 when I finally jumped in real estate full time. And I basically, as like an FU to her at the very beginning, was I'm going to be as successful as possible. I'm going to make you regret that decision forever. That's how I thought at first. Now, with a healthier mindset, God sent her to me to break me down so I can learn where I'm at now. Like, God gives you what you need, not what you want. He needs me to do the things that I'm set to do for his purpose. And the only way I was going to learn that lesson was getting my heart stomped on by the wrong person. And I'm so thankful that I did. Dude, I've educated myself. I guarantee last year, from where I was in education-wise to where I'm at now, I don't think a single person in this world learned more from point A to point B than me. I educated myself that much. Like,
When did you come to Jesus?
oh, I came way long ago. I only started going back to church, though. My very first Sunday was Father's Day Sunday last year, and Tony Cardello ended up inviting me. And the only reason I went was I came up to give him a hard time, just being a jackass, and said, oh, you're not going to church this Sunday? He goes, oh, service is actually at 11:30. Sitting there looking at my phone. I'm like, he goes, you could come. I said, I'm trying to think of a good excuse. He goes, so are you going to show up or not? I was like, I guess I will. Haven't missed a service since.
Oh, that's awesome.
And to get through this thick head takes a lot. But it's like when the pain of staying the same overrides the fear of change, that's when people will change.
Yeah.
I am more afraid of staying a fat, broke, non-valuable individual than I am from going out and being ambitious, going out, spreading my love, going out and spreading my disciplines, going out and trying to motivate other people. Me staying the same is more fearful for me. Like, I just had a $20,000 investment this week, actually, to do coaching on the back end of Facebook marketing, just because I'm constantly trying to get better. Like, when people come to me for real estate needs, find a person doing more than 150,000 views to post up your house. Zillow's giving you 1,500. I don't stick a sign in the yard. I'm going to have your friends, your family, your coworkers, every single person around your area within 15 miles see your house 3 to 4 times a day, knowing it's for sale. That's what I'm learning. Like, what agent out there is doing that? What agent out there is posting up more than me? What agent out there wants it as bad as I do? Like, it's bigger than just making money. Like, that part's, I could go make money in so much easier positions. Making a difference through real estate. I got into real estate because I was tired of hearing people get taken advantage of by the real estate agent. Now I'm being the change. Like, every single one of my clients only talks positive about me. I've had a few relationships due to my own immature issues that are no longer there. But in today's time, I don't know a single agent doing more than me. Like, it's cool. You can go list your house for the MLS. I'm going to go throw $500 just on marketing on the back end. Every single one of your friends around you is going to know your house is for sale, whether they want to see it or not. That's where I'm succeeding.
So, in that space, what's a good number of houses in a month or in a year?
I mean, hell, top producers probably 40 to 50 houses a year is pretty good. I mean, that's
So 45 houses a year is about
maybe about 3 to 4 a month.
3 to 4 a month.
Yeah, but the average real estate agent only does 2 a year.
What?
Yeah,
2 a year?
2 houses a year is the average.
Well, you got to think a lot of people have their real estate license.
He has his real estate license. He doesn't do nothing with it.
Yeah. Mine's been a referral for.
Oh, I got what you're saying. So some of them are the people that are sitting around with the real estate license not doing shit are driving that number down.
So the top 5% of agents in this world do 95% of all the business.
Say that again.
The top 5% of all the agents do
95.
95% of all the business.
Got it.
So I'm sitting here just doing whatever I'm doing. And dude, I don't talk shit on nobody. I couldn't care less. With that being said, I know I'm doing something right when people that are bigger than me are talking down to me.
Yeah.
Like, you never have someone doing more than you talking down to you. And I'm like, okay, well, have you seen any of my newer videos where I'm bouncing around? And
Yeah.
dude, I have so many haters from that. And I'm not like, I posted it up to try to get more eyes on my clients' houses. And I have other agents trying to talk trash on me for it. I'm like, why me? Like, I'm on year 2, motherfucker. Like, I'm going on 2.5 years full time. Why are you talking trash on me? You do 40 million a year. I did 5 million last year. You shouldn't even be focused on me, but yet you are. What do I have that you don't? Like, I don't have the business. I don't have the expertise. I don't have the time. But yet you want to talk trash on me? Like, okay, so obviously I got something going on for me.
Right. I agree.
Yeah, as soon as
That's a good perspective.
As soon as your competition is talking, throwing shade.
And here, that's a pretty good statement. Nobody doing better than you is going to talk shit on you.
Oh, 100%. It's
Nobody. That's as true as it gets.
I have to constantly remind myself, because when you market a bunch, as many people that support you, the people that are loud are the only people that are loud are the ones talking trash on you.
Yeah.
Like, I ruffle a lot of feathers, and unfortunately, like, you could do what I do. Anybody can go throw $500 on marketing. Nobody does. Like, we go make 10 grand on average on a house. That's a $350,000 house.
You're
Pretty
spending
good.
5% on marketing.
I spend $500 up front, and yet agents want to get mad at me for marketing their client's house, my client's house. Like, I'm trying to make them sell quickly, and you're mad at me for marketing it? Like, why? Like, you should market your houses better than
What's the margin on like 5 million?
a $5 million house.
Well, you said they were doing 40 million, you're doing 5 million in a year. What's the margin on the 5 million?
I mean, hell, I reinvest all the excess funds into my business. Like, I don't like cash. Cash sits there collecting dust. I try to either learn something, I market better. I'm constantly using my money to make my boat go faster. Like, that's the simplest concept. What makes my boat go faster? And educating myself, going to the gym, networking with other like-minded individuals. I mean, those 3 things right there are what I do on a regular basis. Making the calls to my past clients, reaching out to my friends and family. Like, this is it. Like, I don't go out drinking anymore. I don't go out smoking no more. Tonight I have a Bible study at a cigar spot every couple of weeks.
The fact that you're by nature a very social individual really caters to what you're doing.
Oh, dude, it's how do I love what I do. I love showing houses. I love hustling up people. Like, dude, I just recently blew up a house. We had 63 people in the door within 48 hours. In today's market, that's unheard of.
Right.
I had 63 people in the door. The very first day, I had $25,000 over asking price on the very first day a house went live. And yet we got a better offer for the second showing. Like, that's why I market. Do I give a fuck about anybody else?
Are you getting both sides?
No. I have one client right now. I don't do it for both sides because everybody knows an agent. With that being said, if you're going to contact me, yeah, I can do both sides.
I'm gonna be honest. If I'm going to buy a house, and I don't have a real estate license, I'm gonna make a deal with the listing agent to reduce commissions and have them write the contract, because it's all up to a home inspection at the end of the day, anyways. And I'm gonna give the price that I'm willing to pay for it. And I mean, really, a buyer's agent is there to help you, those who don't know how to negotiate a house and don't know what they're looking for and don't know how to understand value in a real estate. to protect them. But for
I
anyone
would-
who's got I'd be more concerned.
I would love if you were to contact me, because me being a listing agent. Oh, okay. You want me to drop my commissions? Sure. We will. I'll drop my commissions from 6% to 5%. I'm handling 2%. So I'm dropping it at 1%, but the seller's still paying for it. You're still going to pay full asking price on the house, or I'm going to drop it. Hey, you know what? I can take down like 1%.
Well, it depends on your case for.
And I have loyalty to my seller.
Well, I totally get that. I totally get that.
I love when people contact me to say, hey, would you knock off your commission? Oh, absolutely. How about you, what kind of offer are you thinking? Well, I'm thinking about 20, 30,000.
It depends on what kind of market we're in. If we're in a buyer's market and there's a ton of inventory, which there's not, then the buyer has a much better ability to negotiate with a selling agent.
Let me do, and this is actually what I actually do. If you were to show up with a buyer's agent and you want $10,000 off a house, perfect. The buyer's agent's still going to get their 3%. I'm going to get my 3%. Then we communicate with the seller. If you want to come up and say, hey, I'm unrepresented, are you willing to give a deal? Yeah, I'll give a deal. I'm willing, since I'll be doing double the work, I'll drop it down to 5%, and we'll go ahead and knock off like $2,500 off the price. So if you had an agent, a buyer's agent, you'd actually get a better price than if you just came by yourself.
But I know what it takes to go in to write a buyer's agent contract, and really it's pretty much automated. Once you put in the information of the buyer and the home inspection, you're going to be ordering the inspections and coordinating that with your seller, regardless if I have a buyer's agent or not.
Oh, absolutely. You have a better opportunity though to get a better deal if you did have a buyer's agent.
See, I don't. So if I have to pay my buyer's agent 3%, and because the listing's a 6% listing, why wouldn't I go to the seller and say, "Hey, man, you were only going to get one side of the listing agent. You're only going to get one side of the commission. How about I let you do it, and instead of it being a 6% listing, we make it you get an extra 1.5%. So now you were only going to get 3 to begin with. Now I'm going to say you keep 4.5%.
I'd probably do that.
Yeah, and
but most people want to go ahead and knock off like 3 to 4% of commission because they're, well, you know what? I know how this works. It's like,
I mean, on 100,000, that's $3,000. I would say, here, let's knock $1,500 off the price, and you get another 1.5.
And that's justifiable. In my world, that doesn't happen. Hey, are you willing to do any negotiation on commission? Yeah, if the numbers make sense. You better believe, though, you're going to come at a full price offer at that case. What I'm saying, though, is if you had a buyer's agent and you started to get negotiations, you may save more money by using a buyer's agent. Because let's say $100,000 house.
You're good.
Sorry, that's just...
No, that was Frank's stand.
Yeah, that sounded like it was weird. So what I'm saying is, let's say $100,000 house for easy numbers. You call me up and say, hey, will you knock off $1,500? Yeah, my client makes $98,500. If the house has been sitting, you come up with a buyer's agent and it's like, hey, you know what? We noticed the house has been sitting. We're willing to offer $90,000. Okay. So now
You have 2 negotiation points when you're buying a house.
when you come as a consumer,
You have 2 negotiation points.
the only way you negotiate is a little bit of my commission that I'm double ending on both sides. I'm okay to do that.
If I go to you and ask for a price cut, and I believe that there's a case for a $5,000 price cut, $10,000 price cut, because you've got 270 days on the market, say, well, then I'm going to just go in there and say, your commission is what it is. You keep both sides, but this is the price I'm willing to pay, because the price I'm willing to pay is less, or is the price I'm willing to pay is that price is less than the commission that you were me cutting the commission. So say for easy math, I come and I say, well, I think the house is at least a $90,000 house. It's at 270 days on the market. I'm not going to negotiate for your commission. I'm going to negotiate days on the market, and I'm going to say I'm willing to pay this. Now, if I feel like it's a fair deal, and I'm willing to pay asking price, the only thing I'm going to negotiate and say I'm going to negotiate your commission down because you're going to get both sides. Let's just split that 3% and say it's 1.5% for off the price, and 1.5% goes to you. Win-win.
I would educate my seller. Hey, we got a $90,000 offer that came in. I'm willing to do a little bit on my help on my commission, but I think we should go ahead and just rebuttal at $97,000. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. You always negotiate for more than what you're willing to settle back for, because
What I'm
everybody
saying,
wants
though,
to win-win.
The buyer's agent, it's a hard concept to get, but the buyer's agent really does save you so much more money by just using another agent. Don't ask me why. Like, I don't want to deal with another agent. Another agent has loyalty. General consumer, I know for a fact, doesn't have the balls like when a general consumer calls me up, they want the house. They're snitching on themselves. I know I have all the power.
You've got all the leverage.
I have the leverage. They want what I have.
100%.
Now they're trying to get it for the best price possible. Hey, you know what? I just don't see it working like that. If you can come up to this number, we'd be willing to do it. If you had a buyer's agent come to me, hey, your house has been sitting for a while. You have a lot more power. I'm like, you know what? You're right.
It depends on how educated your consumer is.
Man, it's general consumers, unfortunately. When you say I'm an agent, there's a lot more negotiations involved. When you say I'm a general consumer, hey, what we have is what we have, and we're willing to wait another 270 days to sell it. You already showed your hand.
What if somebody just comes and says, I'm an investor?
I mean, it's all up per deal, but what I'm saying is I love when consumers contact me. They are showing their hand. They're showing how interested they are. They're showing how much they want the house. They're showing me all these things.
And your job as a listing agent is to get the most money for your seller. For your seller.
Now, if a buyer's agent,
I totally get it.
The buyer's agent's on one side, a listing agent's on the other. Them and I are working together to get the deal done. General consumer and contacting me, I represent the seller only. We're going to drive the price as high as possible.
Sure.
That's my responsibility.
I totally agree.
So from your concept, 100% you're right. As far as it would work if that was the real thing.
And it depends on what kind of market we're in. If we're in a seller's market or a buyer's market, that's going to change the leverage a little bit too. Because if I offer you, if there's a ton of inventory in your price range and I offer you this and your house has been sitting for 270 days, then you want that off your books as bad. I know you want it off your books. And
that's where the best deals happen for me. I'll go find a house that's been on the market for 180 days, and I'll just call up the listing agent because at this point, they want to get paid.
They want to get paid. They want out of it.
But if you, the general consumer, calls up the listing agent, and just from a buyer's agent perspective, if you, the general consumer, calls up the listing agent, you are not going to get as good a deal as me being an agent calling up the other agent. Hey, Mr. Agent, so you want $100,000 for this property. I see it's been on the market for $270,000. What's the best price you guys can do? I'm not sure if my buyer's interested whatsoever, but if you give me the best price up front, maybe I can bring it to him. $85,000. Let me find out. I'm not sure if he's willing to go that high, but I'll contact you right back. 15 minutes later, call him. Hey, they said if $80,000, he'll write up the paper right now. Can we make it happen or not? Now, that leverage is way more. That's why the agency is so important, because there's this unspoken loyalty to agent. Let's get this shit done. Let's make some money. Let's move on with our lives.
You got a house that's been sitting on the market for 270 days. Somebody comes to you with a $10K reduction in price and says you're going to make more money and get it off your books. You're not going to give that a second thought.
I am.
If you think that it's still a fair deal for your seller,
I'm going to have a conversation with them. I'm going to say I think we should counter. I will say
you absolutely should counter.
If you're an agent that does that though, I'll be like, hey, let's not piss these people off. This agent's probably offering the best possible. I know this agent, for example. Like, if you have an agent, you're coming to me.
So
you as a general consumer,
I have to disclose the fact that I have my real estate license anyways. So I mean that's kind of when you're
At that point, yeah, you're basically an investor. Whenever I say, hey, I have my real estate license, perfect.
Right.
So then you've already done the comps and know we're pretty much on point, right?
yeah.
Okay. So then why do you want a discount?
Because if I feel like if I have comps that if I'm going to ask for a discount, I'm going to have a case that proves why it should be discounted.
So you want discounted 10% on price. Man, you know what? I'm not sure if my sellers would do this. Let me go ahead and give them a call. What's the best dollar amount you can come up to?
I mean, I'd obviously give you
10% is a lot.
Well, that's why I say percentage, not $10,000.
well, no, and then I'm saying if we're going percent, and honestly, it's not really a percentage game when it comes to real estate. I'm not going to go I'm not going to go ask for a 10% off of $1 million house unless it's. I mean, there are houses that are extremely overpriced, but
There's a way I speak for a reason. When I say, hey, you want 10% off this price? Like you're automatically like, damn, that is quite a bit. Like it's only 10 grand. 10 grand ain't nothing
on a $100,000 house,
on compared to 10.
and a lot of times, the lower the house is listed,
Yeah, and a $100,000 house ain't shit.
I don't even think you could find one
No.
at this point.
Right? Yeah. I mean, that not even a Section 8. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so I'm terrible at that, and I'm the worst at showing my hand because I'm just like, here, let's just get the deal done. This is what I would come to you and I would say, here, this is what I want to spend. I'm not spending any more than that. Can you make it work or not?
Man, they said that you could come if you can come up with another 5,000, we can make it happen right now.
No, I would tell him no. I would already know what my top dollar is.
it depends on if his wife wanted it bad enough.
Here, she's worse to negotiate with than me.
If it was, it depends on what you.
If you called me up as a general consumer, I love general consumers.
I would never do it. I think that's fucking retarded.
Here's
To not have representation.
Here's what
I think
I'll-
it's absolutely retarded.
Here's what I'll say: don't FOMO into anything, and there's always something else out there. So it's like,
I was looking when I found this. I'll be looking when I find the next.
right?
I mean, I would never, ever get into a real estate deal, commercial or residential, without representation. Number one, I don't want to jack with it. I don't want to make the phone call to you. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to spend time talking on the phone to you.
That's why I stay busy, is because I make it easy for people. Dude, I get told
That is a huge part of it.
I've been told multiple times I've made it easier than buying a car. This is a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $700,000 house. I may have made it easier than buying a car.
Buying a car sucks. It's the worst transaction anybody can ever do, and if somebody can make that less painful for me, I'm all about that.
Hold on. I'm about to put them on game. So I've been trained by some car salesmen in this world. Never negotiate on price. Negotiate on terms if you ever want a good deal. Everyone negotiates on price. How about you go ask for new floor mats? Or how about you ask for a warranty of some sorts? There is value in extra stuff that you can ask for other than bottom dollar pricing. If you ever want to negotiate on a car, do that first.
I'll never buy a new car ever again. Not unless I'm just going to go write a check for it.
I'm paying the price tag, and I'm just going to go. Yeah,
I'm just not buying a new car. I can't see.
I'm gonna tell them what I want. And they're gonna give it to me. I'm just gonna pay the price tag just because I don't want to fuck with them.
3 years old, 2 years old. I'm not buying a brand new car ever.
I got some oceanfront property for sale in Arizona. You down?
Yeah.
In the middle of Arizona, huh?
Middle of Arizona. 145 degrees during the summer.
It's dry heat.
Yeah, it's dry heat.
It's a dry heat. It's different.
My ass, dry heat.
It's a dry heat.
Dude, if I walk outside and my back is immediately wet, that's a hot heat no matter what.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So let's hear you got a hard stop time. What I want to finish with, where do you see, yourself in the next 2-3 years? What are your goals? I mean, obviously, residential real estate is the moneymaker, but and that's great. But what's the personal goals, the spiritual goals? Where are you trying to get to?
So financially speaking, business-wise, in the next year, January, I'm going to go ahead and restart my team. I'm running as fast as I possibly can this year, build up my bank account to as big as I can to start a team next year and be able to give to those individuals. Now, I'm going to be on a building stage for like 3, 4, 5 years, 4 years. When I turn 36, I'm getting out of real estate. Getting out, I'm going to go pursue my bigger passion of running around the world, speaking on stages, helping out other men become better men, how to help out people that are aspiring to be an entrepreneur and teach them how I did it. Going to just help out mindset and just ultimately add just a bunch of positivity and motivation to the world.
So what are you going to do to self-educate as far as learning yourself how to become a better man, learning yourself how to become a better entrepreneur, so what are your steps, right? Because clearly you're never going to know it all, right? There's a perpetual learning process with that.
So my habits determine where I'm headed.
So talk to me about your habits.
Every single morning I get up and it's the same routine, and I get myself wins, and that's what fires me up. So when I make my bed, when I throw on my clothes for the gym, when I throw on my socks, when I get my supplements inside me and get my pre-workout inside me, my creatine, get my whey protein isolate for after workout, whenever I hop in my truck, whenever I start to drive to the gym, like these are all wins in my world before I even make it to the gym. By the time I make it to the gym, I'm walking on the treadmill and I'm losing my fat. I'm listening to my daily devotional. I'm reading my Bible in that time. Like my app is working a certain way. By the time I get done with the gym, I'm going back home and I'm getting my breakfast inside me. I'm kind of catching up with some emails. I'm catching up with some texts. I'm catching up with some business. I'm getting my mind once again. When I'm in the shower, I start learning something. I'll throw on YouTube University, something motivational. If I don't want to learn anything, sometimes I just don't want to hear anything educational wise. Those are the days I listen to motivation. Podcasts of some sorts, motivation, maybe a different TikTok, something to benefit me, because I refuse to turn on some bullshit on the TV whenever I'm taking my shower, when that's where I'm at sponge status. I am literally exhausted from the gym. Anything that is told to me I can retain because my mind is shut down to like think wildly. Like I'm exhausted. My body is worn out. My ADHD is being contained for that little bit of time. That's where I'm growing the most. So I put on something educational, whether it be women, whether it be business, whether it be ads, whether it be social media. It does not matter. I'm learning something that I want to learn about. After that, I have my breakfast. I get my macros on point. By the time I get done with my breakfast, my phone's already blowing up and, hey, I got to go start my day. 9 a.m., 9:30. I am responding to emails, sending out houses, updating people on the market, sending out texts, having conversations until about 11:30-ish. And then from about noon, I'm grabbing lunch again, more food. And then I'm finding out what kind of conversations do I need to be having? Do I have anything on the books? If not, okay, well, I'm making calls. I'm calling up my friends and family that I haven't spoken with. I got 800 people on my phone. I should be contacting at least 3 to 4 of them a day.
So before you hit the ground running, I mean, your day seems pretty
It's regimented.
and streamlined.
Top 1%ers always are.
You know, is your spiritual growth segment of your day? Do you find difficult turning off all this excess to really reflect and grow in that space? Because for me, it's very difficult to multitask when I'm trying to kind of lean into that.
I don't multitask. That's why. I only do one thing at a time. That's all I can do in this world.
Right.
I focus, just like my shirts say, Frank, one step at a time. That's what my band says, one step at a time. I could have 50 things to do in a day, but there's only one thing I can accomplish right now. That's the only thing I'm focused on.
Yeah, I can dig it.
I make my life simple, and that's why I achieve more than the average person, because most people think about the 50 things and then they go half-ass 50 items. I think of 50 things to say, all right, well, what's the first thing I need to accomplish? And I go do it. Whether it's the first right thing or not, I don't care about being right. I care about getting done correctly, and then I'll move on to the next item.
Yeah.
But I will not think about anything else. I'll write it down. I'll vomit at the brain. Definitely when I have a lot of things going on, I start my days the night before. I'll write down at least 5 things the night before on my power list. And okay, well, I need to accomplish this, and this. And as long as I accomplish just those 5 things, whether it take 30 minutes or whether it take 8 hours, does not matter. As long as I accomplish those 5 things, I've attacked the day and I've done the day.
Yeah.
Make my life easy. So many people make their life difficult, and why?
Yeah. The more organized you are, the more streamlined you are, the more you're
Well, and there's a lot too, because I remember I would have all these things floating through my head at night, and it would keep me up. And finally, what I would end up doing is just get up, start writing those things down, and now they don't have to float through my head anymore. I have them written down. I'm ready to go the next day. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it helps me sleep at night. So I start my day the night before as well. Otherwise, I'll be an anxiety-ridden wreck all night long and get no sleep.
Anxiety is fear of the future, and I don't have fear of the future because I know where I'm going.
Right.
Like when I write down the things and I accomplish them, there's a bigger goal in the long term. Like my 5-year plan, I want to do $1 billion worth of real estate gross volume in a single year. Has not been done in Kansas City yet. I'm gonna have to have a team involved, but I'm planning on doing that in the next 4 years. That's a substantial amount of growth. That's why I'm figuring this all out. This is why I throw all my money back into my ROI, or that's why I throw all my money back into my business, because I don't care about the money today. I could be balling the fuck out. I really could. Don't. I'll go throw 20, 25 grand into learning something so I can learn how to make $2 to $3 million in a year. And then I can learn how to build my team better. And then I can learn how to scale up my business better. Most agents just work high paying jobs. I want a business that I don't have to work every single day.
Right.
That residual income. And that's what I'm headed towards is if I can teach people, if I can make 50 different people just like me that are taking care of people to the utmost of their responsibilities in real estate, that means our business will slowly start to change. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of agents out there that half-ass their job. And they make a lot of money doing it. How many people out there have you heard, oh yeah, I'm a part-time real estate agent? Like, do you want a part-time real estate agent to represent you in the biggest transaction of your life? And yet so many people do it because their aunt sold a house to them 4 years ago and hasn't done shit since.
Right. Right.
Like, does that sound like the best person? Like, I have a buddy that I was just talking to, and he has a listing that was on the market for 35 days. It was overpriced. This agent randomly called him and said, hey, are you willing to do any bit better on the price? And he goes, no. She goes, okay, good. They're willing to pay that amount. Like, negotiated like a child. Like, just showed her entire cards. I'm like, dude, take it. He goes, I am. I said, you can't get it 80 easier when the other side doesn't know how to negotiate, and that's because of lack of education.
Right.
Like, you can go get your license. That's the easiest part. But to be an educated real estate agent, that takes time. And because I don't have enough deals underneath my thing, I go learn from people that have already spent the time. Like, I can learn quicker than the time. Like, learning gets me quicker to the goal that I'm after. And I throw money to get me to that goal quicker. I love to learn. I will destroy most agents because I've learned quicker than them.
Right.
2.5 years in the business. Why am I having multi-million-dollar conversations for my gross income? Should not be a thing. And yet I'm going to accomplish that. Why am I having billion-dollar goals? Because I have a billion-dollar mindset. And I'm in the vehicle with people that have done it. I don't just go to the very bottom and the person that sold one house is like, hey, how do I sell a house? Like, I got a recent agent that's does about the same volume as me. She got upset with me when I said, I don't want to learn from you. Well, I've been in the business longer. I'm like, cool. So you've accomplished nothing longer than I have. She did not like that. But I said it. Like, I want to go learn from people that I want to aspire to be, not people that are doing what I'm already doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's smart. That's smart. All right. Well, you got a hard stop time.
Yep.
Buddy, thanks for being on.
Yeah. Thanks for being on, Michael.
I appreciate it.
Man, this was definitely awesome. This was we're going to have to do this again.
Yeah. Anytime.
We could do it again.
Yeah.
We could do next time you can interview me.
I have to interview you because there's a lot of things inside your head that I know for a fact you don't know could help somebody else out.
Well, and there's a lot of mistakes I've made.
And that's even more.
A lot.
Which I want to let it be known. I have lived a horrible life, and I would not even have my biggest enemy use my life. But with that being said, it is an educational purpose of, look, if I can do all these things and screw up this badly, There should be no excuse why you can't chase after your dreams.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, and if you listen to my story, it was just one fuck up after another, and God bailed me out, and to the point where there's times where I'm like, is he going to bail me out again? Is he?
Dude, I stopped waiting on God and started realizing he's going to give me the good luck. But at this point, it's the good luck only comes from working my ass off.
Yeah, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah, son of a bitch. Weird.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
All right.